provide some constructive criticism here and say, okay, well, how can Lego change this? Because, someone who's, in Japan, this is a problem that they often have actually in Japan, because Japan has a very large population. It has relatively limited resources. It doesn't have a lot of land. It doesn't have many natural resources. A lot of things are produced in limited quantities. So how do they manage that? Well, in this case, you can see that there's a limit of 2. Why would there be a limit of 2? Why wouldn't you make it a limit of 1? The only reason I could understand why somebody would want to buy 2 is if it's a present. But then if it's a present for your husband or your wife, well, you don't need 2 anyway. You've got 1 in that household. That's enough. And I don't think there's too many people out there buying, a $5, $6, $7, $800 present for somebody. And if you would, they're obviously a big Lego fan who probably would buy this set themselves. The second reason is maybe somebody doesn't know how to use a computer or a phone, but how many Lego fans don't know how to use a computer or a phone? And the other thing is maybe you want to keep a copy for yourself unopened. And in fact, the YouTuber who showed this set even said themselves, oh yeah, I want to buy 2 so I can keep 1 in the box. But to me, that's just trying to profiteer off it, because you might say, well, I want it for my own collection and keep 1 in an unopened. The only reason, well, actually, an unopened Lego set has no value. And what I mean by that is, let's just say, it's a bit silly, but hypothetically, there's a wizard or a witch, and they put a spell on the Lego box, and they said, you can never open this set. Who would want to own it? Who would want to buy it? Because all it'll ever be is a cardboard box that you can look at, which it might be worth $5, right? So, okay, why are boxed sets worth so much? Why do people pay so much for them? Because they want to open them. If you think about a set that's 5, 10, 20 years old, you don't know where it's been, you don't know who's owned it, you don't know if it's got replacement parts, you don't know if it's been exposed to the sun and the pieces are faded, you don't know any of that. So, okay, if you buy an unopened set, assuming that there was no manufacturing defects, you know you're going to get a pristine set in pristine condition, no missing pieces, etc. So people are willing to pay for that premium. But again, that's on the proviso, the assumption that they're going to open it. But if you never open it, then it has no value. All it's ever going to be is a cardboard box. So these people who say, oh, I want to buy 2 sets because I want to keep 1, I want to open 1 and I want to keep 1 in box, that just to me says, well, one day they want to sell it and make a profit. And that comes back to my point of, well, why wouldn't you just limit it to 1? The second thing I would change is make people pay a deposit. So you can order this and you don't pay any money at all. And I think even if you made a deposit of even say $10, you would deter some people from purchasing this. Thirdly, I would potentially, if I was Lego, I would prevent people from selling the set. And I'm going to show some interesting examples. So hang around towards the end of the video. I will show people already selling this set on online marketplaces for greatly inflated prices. So if Lego at least, and I know it's a bit of a fine line because you're kind of taking away people's rights, but I think even if you said, hey, we're not going to allow you to sell this this set for 12 months, or we're not going to allow you to sell it if it's in unopened condition, then that would deter some of the scalping, or a lot of the scalping that we see. I know it's difficult to implement, but that's something they could do. I think having a lottery system would also be a lot fairer. So if you said, okay, we only got 30,000, let anybody who wants to buy it in the 21-day period put in an order, and then have a lottery. Just have like a random lottery, and if you're one of the 30,000 that gets picked, then great for you, right? And they do that. In Japan, they do that all the time. They do it for concert tickets. They do it for, the Tokyo Marathon. All of these, like for example, the Tokyo Marathon is 10 times oversubscribed. So you only have a 1 in 10 chance of being picked to be one of the people who is able to run it. And it's fair. It's like a coin toss. You can be disappointed if you're not one of the people who get selected, but you can't get upset about it because it's just luck. And so it's not favoring anybody. And I'll come back to this point a little later. Or the other thing I would do, and probably the most important thing I would do, is because Lego haven't produced any of these sets, I would have it available for 21 days and see how many people want to order it, and then manufacture it based off that number. So if, for argument's sake, 84,700 people order it, okay, make 85,000 or 80,000 or 90,000. That way you're going to get very close to the number of how many people actually want it. I'm very confident, okay, they had 30,000 people buy this, or 30,000 sales, I should say. I'm sure a lot of people bought too. I'm very confident that they could have sold, let's say, even very conservatively, 90,000. Because if it sold 30,000 in 2 hours, for the remaining 20 days and 22 hours, which is 490 hours if you're doing the math, I'm sure you would sell another 60,000. I'm absolutely 100% sure. So Lego have got it really wrong, the whole supply and demand dynamics, and we all know what that means to prices.